German Leopard super tanks are one of the most powerful tanks helping Ukraine fight against the Russians. These super tanks are terrifying the Russians to a whole new level. So what's so peculiar about these tanks? Why are they so powerful? Well, in this video, we are going to discuss all of these. So make sure you subscribe to my channel and keep watching this video till the end. Here we begin. You are aware of the Russia-Ukraine war, right? So do you know what is happening there? Well, you will find that Ukrainian forces are now running out of Soviet missiles and are presently being replaced by Western ones. So let me tell you that this Russian-Ukrainian battle is coming to be the largest ever crisis between Russia and Western weapons. Still, so far the US and the NATO nations are providing weapons to Ukraine, not only with weapons, but also with their obsolete tanks and armored personnel carriers. So, we will discuss these tanks that are terrifying the Russian army here. So, keep watching this video till the end. The German Leopard 1. The German Leopard 1 tank was developed in the 1960s. The Leopard 1 has a traditional hull, which is divided by a fireproof bulkhead. This hull is into an engine cavity, and there is also a crew compartment forward. Let me tell you that the whole turret is shaped into one piece, and therefore the tank can be sealed and overpressurized for usage in a nuclear, biological, chemical combat setting. Let's talk about its equipment. The Leopard 1 main battle tank holds an absolute armor of 2.75 inches, and the minimum is 0.33 inches on the prime of the hull. The turret armor varies from 2 inches, which is present on the front, to 2.4 inches on the walls and rear. The Leopard 1 is competent at sustained road velocities of 40 miles per hour, and it has a span of 372 miles. Talking about its engine, it was planned in such a way that it could be extracted and repaired in the field within 20 minutes. But it should be mentioned that they can barely greatly strive with the upgraded Russian T-72B3 tank. But things are now changing gradually. The Americans have begun delivering Ukraine their modern M777 howitzers, and Germany has begun speaking about the likelihood of providing Leopard 2 tanks, the main German tank. The fearless German Leopard II. As the name suggests, the German Leopard 2 tanks are frequently considered one of the world's most powerful major battle super tanks. To know further details about it, keep watching this video till the end. So the Leopard 2 is the main battle tank, and it was created by Krauss-Maffei during the 1970s. It was developed for the West German Army. The tank first joined duty in 1979 and succeeded the earlier Leopard 1, which was also a main battle tank of the German Army. Now that it has progressed, you will find several editions of it, and it has assisted the armed troops of Germany, 12 other European countries, and various European countries. Now, let's talk about its two major developments. These two main advanced batches of the tank, out of which the initial prototypes up to Leopard 2A4. It has vertically faced turret armor along with the improved assortment, which is known as the Leopard 2A5, a modern edition, which is angled arrow-shaped turret applique are jointly with various other modifications. Let me tell these models to emphasize vital fire supervision systems with laser rangefinders, a complete stabilization major gun, a coaxial machine gun, and a night concept on and sighting appliance. So what does this tank do? Well, this tank can immerse moving victims while moving over uneven landscapes. It has multi-layered combined armor throughout the layout. The Leopard 2A5 and A6 prototypes have extra armor to the turret front and the side skirts. You will find that the German Leopard 2 has evolved to be the main tank in European countries. These super tanks are successfully replacing the American Abrams with similar features, but it should be mentioned that these tanks have much lower prices. Do you want an example? Well, for instance, we take the penultimate modification of the Leopard 2, which is the Leopard 2A6 expense of around $6.79 million, whereas you will find that the Abrams M1A2 SEP cost around $8.5 million. You will see that the French AMX-56 is not asking for a $10 million, but the Ukrainian government in the situation in which their nation uncovers the expenses of the supplied armament, which is certainly the last thing on their minds. Furthermore, Ukraine is not spending a single penny on these. All the supply from the Western arms to Ukraine is practically free under a lease. But for Ukraine, the major aspect is whether the Leopard 2 can effectively battle the Russian T-72B3, primarily utilized by the Russian army in the conflict with the Ukrainians. But as I already mentioned, the Leopard 2 was developed to counterattack the Russian tank Avalanche. and the abrupt offensive which was anticipated by the NATO strategists. In situations where the hypothetical full-scale war is happening in Europe, the major element of this avalanche was the T-7. But the Russians could not underestimate the Germans, because they were preparing for enormous tank battles, as in 1943 near the Russian Prokhorovka. Do you recall it? Well, it is where hundreds of Hermann Tigers battled against hundreds of Russians. Now, if you look at the Leopard II, you will instantly find Tiger underlines on the rational angles of armor slope on the hull and turret. Do you know that Leopard II has served in Afghanistan too? Well, let's also talk about it. In Afghanistan too, the Leopard II served with confidence, although you will find that there were many severe incidents with them. This mostly happened when the tanks ran over mines and automatic explosive equipment. But let me tell you that the most crucial casualties were when the Turkish Leopard II took part in the conflict in Syria. There, it was reported that the total losses were 10 tanks. All of these tanks were demolished by anti-tank configurations. Let me add here that Turkey has Leopard 2A4, which has no active protection at all, and that's why if they blast into the lateral or stern forecast, they can be attained by the Russian primitive RPG-7. Can you answer the main enemy that the Leopard II will have to fight? Any guesses? Well, this main enemy will be the Russian T-72B3 tank. This tank first appeared in 1973 after its inauguration, and it's been upgraded many times. And the enormous version of the T-72B3 first appeared in 2011. Now, you must be wondering about the Russian tank, right? So let's just wrap it up with this topic. You will find that the Russian tank is much lighter than the German tank. The Russian tank is only 46 tons, but in the machine's first years of generation, there was an engine with, and you will be surprised to know its power. It was 840 horsepower. But this is not the case with the Leopard II. And thanks to its powerful engine, which has 23.8 horsepower per ton, the German tank is stronger than the Russian. But it has changed now because of the T-72B3. After 2016, the T-72B3 is prepared with 1,130 horsepower, and the engine has. Accordingly, the specific thrust immediately leaped to 24.5 horsepower per ton. Also, you will see that the Russian tank has a smoothbore 125mm 2A46 M5 gun, which is sufficiently good as the Leopard's 120mm. Furthermore, the most fascinating fact about the T-72 is that it has an automatic loader. Therefore, it has 2 men in the turret rather than 3, which lessens the extent of the turret. And if we compare the T-72B3 to the Leopard II, it appears like a youngster correlated to a grown man. Now you understand about the Leopard II, which has significant advantages and power to withstand the Soviet tanks, which may be why the Russians are shocked by it. So that's all for today. What do you think about it? Let me know in the comments. Make sure to subscribe and smash the bell icon to get more uploads like this. Until we meet again, take care.